Hello there, yokais and yokals. Does that work? Well, I know I'm gonna be talking to a bunch of yokels either way. Welcome to Tales from the Bargain Bin, Japan Edition. Shame too, Halloween is probably already over in that neck of the woods by the time this video comes out. Curse you, Father Time! Let the whole world celebrate together! So, my spirits of East Asian origin, do you remember a little series called Yokai Watch? The franchise that took the world by storm? And by world I pretty much mean Japan. The charming game about finding supernatural adventure in your own backyard, evoking memories of childhood and summer vacation. Well, after Yokai Watch 3, a game that felt like it was made by a company who thought they could do no wrong, the people behind its creation, Level 5, a studio that once filled people's hearts with delight, has become a hollow husk of its former self. Once known for the immaculate attention to detail put into its charming settings, it is now debasing itself into using generative AI slop so horrible, I expect a depressed Oompa Loompa to show itself any second now. And of course its propaganda game, which got delayed by another 3 years for some reason. Seriously, the game's going to have to rename itself Decade Police if it gets any more delays. But as much as I would like to crack the ribs of this already dead studio walking, today I have a different skeleton fish to fry. So tell me if you've heard this one before. Something new becomes extremely popular, like genre-shiftingly popular, so another company, in a desperate attempt to trend chase, churns out a quick imitation which it then releases 8 years later. Gee, that sure sounds familiar. Well, yeah, that happened this year too, but in case the theming going on here isn't an indication, what I'm talking about today is a duplicate of Level 5's Cash Cow / Downfall. Hold on to your watches and get ready to spell boo without any O's. It's Takara Tomi's Majica Party! And let me tell you, boils and ghouls, I will cry at this party!
I cannot think of a more how do you do fellow kids sort of thing in recent memory than Majica Party. You may notice that I am calling it Majica Party, even though Takara Tomy, the manufacturers of the game, anglicized it as Mazica Party. It's weird, even as an English speaker, because the word is a three-way pun in Japanese, and none of them make sense with a Z in them. Majica is a pun on magic, which is obvious, Majin, which is, Majin, and Majica, which is the Japanese version of are you serious? So yeah, I don't know what the Z is doing here, because power literacy is cool even in Japanese. So what is Majica Party exactly? I'm saying this because I'm not entirely sure myself, even after looking into it. It kinda seems like it's trying to be a combination of Yokai Watch, Harry Potter, and Skibbity Toilet all mixed together for the purpose of selling a card game with a scratch-off gimmick. It came out in 2022, promptly fell on its face, and now it feels like Takara Tomy is trying to erase any sign of its existence. Now, this thing was given enough of a push that it actually got a tie-in anime, all of which used to be available on YouTube, but now we're down to just the first and last episode for some reason. And at the sight of that, I've made sure to scarper with the how to play video and the English version of the press release before they can erase those too. But yeah, if you're willing to pay the import fees, Majica Party can be found for super cheap online. Well, cheap compared to their initial asking price anyway. We'll get to that whole can of worms later. First, I have to show you the wonderful world of Majica Party. Imagine Swirl Fighters, but done in earnest by a Japanese company that put money down on actual talent to try to make a Yokai Watch knockoff 7 years late, and you have a basic idea of what to expect with Majica Party. Our story is about a boy who wears a skinned karibo on his head named Kezuru. Kezuru being the Japanese word for scrape. Get it? Because it's a scratch-off game? Scrape, huh? Sounds like something out of those, 1990s direct-to-bargain bin VHS movies about, a kid named Scrape who protects an alien that only eats Dairy Queen from evil government agents that are clearly played by the director's family members. I mean, it could be worse. He could have been named Cratch. You see, when I first saw how they wrote this kid's name in Japanese, I thought it was Clutch. But no, according to the English press release, it's Cratch. One letter away from Scratch, but more importantly, one letter away from Crotch.
Also, I thought this was a hairband, but apparently this is just his hair? How does it do that?
One day, these two boys get involved in Mazica Party, the hip, cool, awesome new game everybody's talking about. It then immediately calls itself a scam. What are you doing? That is literally what you are trying to sell people. Don't you know you're not supposed to be honest about your grift? That's like rule number 1, bro. Welcome to Majica Party. Our game is a scam. After this, where we are not shown how to actually play the game at all, Scrape gets a text to go to the Apple Store, how do you do fellow kids, and is given a brand new iMagic eye pen. It's a piece of plastic. It's literally just a stupid piece of plastic that doesn't even work like in the show. There's no electronics, no music, you don't even click the button at the end to make it work. It's literally just a chunk of plastic you used to scratch the lottery coding off the dang cards, I can't believe— Okay, so after a little research, it turns out there was eventually an electronic version of this pen, and I mean, that's just kind of taken for granted, right? Japan is the country that makes all these sorts of crazy light-up gimmick toys, like your Power Rangers and your yokai watches and your Pretty Cures. I don't think it was unreasonable to expect the same thing out of this. What was unreasonable, however, is the cost. You want to know how much they were trying to get for this thing? 8,800 yen. 88 bucks. Nearly halfway to a Switch Lite. $10 more than the Kamen Rider Popping Gummy Henshin Belt Gav. Nearly double the cost of the similarly designed Apply driver from fellow flopped Yokai Watch clone Applemon. For a pen! I saw one on eBay for $8.
I ordered it.
Oh good, it is the real thing, and I didn't get scammed with one of the more stupid plastic ones I showed off before. Although, kinda weird that it doesn't come with any cards, huh? For this much, it probably should have at least included a few, and I mean, the Gav belt I mentioned before is 10 bucks cheaper and does come with those extra parts. Oh, but it's not just a pen, it's a magic wand! A magic wand that, when in the hands of the wizard, gives you this terrible looking jacket and inconsistently appearing devil horns and is used to scrape the absolute living daylights out of anything within range. They are trying so hard to make scratching things look cool, and it just— if someone scratched off a lotto ticket like this near me, I would probably move house. Soon after getting this pen, Scrape comes across a totally original character that in no way is trying to imitate a more popular character from a more popular franchise. This is Balunyan. Oh, I'm sorry, Balunya. Totally different, get it? And together, these two must fight against troublemaking Majin, legally distinct, who are usually named after puns. Like Hoo Hoo Clock, and Alice Skater, and Mouse Shoes? Yeah, I'm lost here. Even in Japanese, this one was a stretch. They do attack like Rainbow Mika, though. And they have to deal with these critters because they're invisibly causing weird supernatural happenings around them. Look, just give me the show's equivalent of, this must be the work of a yokai so I can die happy, okay?
あれは魔人だ。
Thank you. They later go to a magical school, because those definitely aren't problematic right now, and all the while playing the most obnoxiously bad dance pop I have ever heard. Like Tayo Cruz, but somehow even more obnoxious. Maybe it's because I'm an American who hears this sort of music all the time, but I find it uniquely unbearable. Yeah, this is the skibbity toilet part of the equation, in case you were wondering. Yeah, this is pretty clearly an attempt to imitate the famous yokai watch dances that were pretty upbeat and popular, but trying to do it modern and more fancy, I guess. Oh, and don't worry, Crotch gets a magic EpiPen too. Now, with Takara Tomi's mass deletion of the series off of YouTube, I have only seen 7 episodes. Episodes 1 through 5, which got translated, the final episode, which is still on the YouTube channel, and randomly episode 9, which involves a Majin that changes people's hair. Something done as a joke in probably the best episode of Fresh Pretty Cure. Seriously, if you've never touched the Pretty Cure franchise, Fresh is probably your best starter show. But in this case, the joke plot is done in full earnest. But even then, those few episodes are all I needed to see. The show got its full season, mostly because seasons of anime are usually finished well in advance, but it fell off the face of the earth soon after. The game had 4 sets, which were like weirdly split in half between L and R boxes, even though they were essentially released on the same day, and also inexplicably cost $2 despite containing only 3 cards. 3 starter sets, although none for the girl character because, and a set of sort of jumpstart packs like those little pack clusters you see at Target before getting shuttered completely. And hey, remember that pen from before? Well, here is a starter set that includes the junky plastic version, a miniature binder, and 12, count 'em, 12 whole cards. Care to guess how much this thing costs? I guarantee you it's more. More. This 12 card starter set is, brace for it, $33 for, again, 12 cards!
I ordered it.
The best part? This $33 starter set contains parts required for play. And ironically enough, is probably the only good thing to come out of this whole debacle. The Majica book is actually a pretty slick little piece of tech. This is where you assemble your Majin deck for play. It's a single page binder that is actually quite a bit larger than the binders you get with the Pokemon cards at your local Target, featuring pull-out pages that attach to little plastic rings in the middle. This is actually kinda neat, and I hope Takara Tomy doesn't scrap this design despite Mazica Party's failure. I mean, thanks to its adjustable page count, you could set this thing up for a game of Zatch Bell. Remember that game? As for how to play a game, we have this fun, if cringy, little video made by Takara Tomy themselves. Anyway, you build a deck of between 12 and 20 Majin, which get hidden inside of the book. This is required because the cards themselves, in an absolute stroke of alleged genius, do not have uniform card backs, meaning that they have to be concealed within your book for play. From the selection, you pick 7 points of Majin, whose value is indicated on the top left, to form your squad in the front of the book, in front of this special little divider card that they've made. At the start, both players pick one of their team yokai, I mean Majin, to play to compete, which have to be done at the same time due to the lack of uniform card backs. After this, players play a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
No, stupid! With the rest of their deck. Each player picks a card from the back half of the book and, again, have to yank them out of their books at the same time to slam down on the table due to, again, a lack of uniform card backs. Each of these cards has a rock, paper, scissors icon to determine the winner of this DJ step. But there's also a super rock, paper, scissors, called rock, paper, scissors, star, assassin, where star beats everything, assassin beats star, and everything beats assassin. Rather than determining the winner, this little game of Rochambeau is usually the trigger for some sort of bonus on the winning Majin. And there is actually some strategy here, as some Majin gain additional bonuses if you win with specific icons, allowing a degree of bluffing and risk-taking. It's really the only praise I can give this game, however, because the battle is pretty simple. It's highest number wins, sending the other Magi to the downstage, and ties result in both Majin losing. That's a fun way to end a game on a tie like that. If you are down to your final Majin, or specifically have all 7 points between your in-play and defeated Majin out, you can perform a one-chance skill to try and win. This is revealed using the actual nub of the pen to activate a friction cover. More confusing, however, are the book skills. This was not covered in the tutorial video, so are not very well explained, but it seems to involve moving your downed Majin to get a bonus off of the book during battle. Flipping 1, I know this looks like a 0, but trust me it's a 1, of your Majin to give a small bump, or flipping 2 for a bigger bump. Though this begs the question, if I'm flipping these Majin away, does that mean I cannot use the one chance skill of my Majin when I'm down to my last guy? The rules don't really say. Hi, Editor Kohdok here. In the process of gathering footage, I discovered that they actually do, in fact, have footage of more games beyond the starter deck that involves using, like, the book skill and stuff. They are not on the Majica Party YouTube page, but were actually on the Takara Tomy page. It's a good example of how the game should actually be played, as well as just how insanely unbalanced a lot of these cards are. My goodness. So anyway, book skills. You can actually use this one-cost book skill as many times as you like, as long as you have a Majin to send from downstage to upstage. The one that actually costs more is also a one-chance skill, meaning you can only use it once per game, and indeed, Majin that are in the upstage cannot pay for the final one-chance skill. So because these book skills are so good, most Majin teams are more like 5 Majin rather than 3. But what about the scratching, I hear you asking? What does the scratching have to do with any of this? And yes, admittedly, this is not our first scratching game at all, is it? I've looked at both Scratch Wars and Battle Cards. Scratch Wars had a lot of scratching, but admittedly, not much in the form of mechanics, though the fact that all cards begin identically means that they could be used for draft play, and it kept treasure points concealed for the online game until it's time to redeem them. Battle Cards was the same way, with each card also being worth a sum of in-game currency for the winner, which could, at the time, be redeemed for prizes. If only Majica Party had thought even that far ahead. Scratching in this game basically reveals the card you already had, and since the cards are already half revealed most of the time, all it really does is add an extra step to the unboxing process. Yeah, these cards, they're not like scratch paper all over, there's like select little regions where you scratch them off in most cases. In this entire deck, only 2 of them actually had the picture covered up like you always see in the show. But yeah, even with how short-sighted this seems, there are, in fact, one-time use, one-chance skills. Yes, this game has cards with limited number of uses, and unlike Battle Cards, which has on its side the poor vision of the Wild West era and the fact that the cards transformed into prizes upon use, these really are use them and it's over effects. Scratch off the one-chance skill, can't ever use it again, for no good reason. Once these both get scraped away, this card will only be good for playing rock, paper, scissors, which it could do before it got all used up, but whatever. Yes, they made cards this pricey have limited uses with no real benefit afterwards. So why was it made this way anyway? Well, there's obviously the goal of trying to invoke a sort of tactile experience with the pieces to appeal to younger kids. You can transform a common card into a rare if the opportunity arises, and I guess the scratching is meant to be satisfying? But it flies in the face of collectability and wanting to keep one's cards pristine. At least in my other examples, there was a tangible reward to scratching off your cards, usually in the form of in-game currency or prize redemption. Here, there's nothing. And that's really the issue with Majica Party as a whole. I mean, I can see a little bit of something happening here, but like Redakai before it, Majica Party was bogged down by its pointless headache of a gimmick. It has nothing of its own. It's so obsessed with trying to cram a bunch of once popular things together into one place, it forgot how to be itself.
And so that's the moral of the story, my little Jibinyans and Komasans. If all you do is copy other things, all you will do is remind people of those things, leaving your creation as nothing but a heartless, hollow nobody, a couple of parries away from the ash swept into the trash can that has become the bargain bin. And with even level 5 themselves trying a hand at their own Yokai Watch knockoff, it's only a matter of time before there really is nothing left. Until next time, my fellow spirits, this is Skulzy saying, accept no imitations, and of course,